Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Out and About Show on 1590 KVGB. Focus on Stafford County. Steve Webster with you today, joining us, as always, on this important date. Carolyn Dunn, Stafford County Economic Development Director and Program Director for Stafford County EcoDevo. Ashley Bevan in here today to talk about all the great things happening to our south. Guys, welcome in today. Happy birthday, Ashley, by the way.
Thank you.
You can tell us how old you are today?
24.
Isn't it nice to be able to... Someone asks you what your birthday is, and you just belt it right out. There's no hesitation at all.
Nope.
Happy 24th to Ashley Bevan today.
Thank you.
A lot of great things to talk about on the show today, Carolyn, and let's go ahead and...
Yes.
Where we a lot of times start on this program. One of these days, we'll be talking about announcing...
I hope soon. Yes. In fact, I was talking yesterday with one of the members of our grocery committee, and he was really reiterating how he sees this as being the most important issue in Stafford County right now. He sees the ripple effects in even his own business of not having a grocery store. That's what we're working on.
Of course, we'll tie some of these things together, but I guess what's the latest on the efforts to bring back a grocery store to the community of St. John?
We do have possession back of the building, which was a big thing. And one of the things we've spent some time with in the last couple weeks is showing that building to some potential candidates. And the good news is there's more than one that has expressed some interest in putting together a proposal. So we'll have to work through what those different proposals are, because each person that I've been involved with there kind of has a different take on what's needed and how they would approach running the business. So we'll just kind of have to, I think, sort through some of that and make some recommendations to City Council. Hopefully that will happen very soon.
Now, you said that you have possession of the building now.
Dylan's had the lease on the building even after they closed the store. And for several months, we didn't have even access to go inside and take a look at the building because they still possessed the lease, had the keys, all that kind of stuff. And at this point, that lease has been dissolved, and we have local ownership back of the building. There are many different options. I mean, it'd be nice for somebody to come in, yep, I want that building, we're going to open this thing in a month. Mm-hmm. But there are some different issues applied with this, and that's why there's really a lot of different options out there right now. And while we have a building that's very suitable to being a grocery store, will take less to get going than starting from scratch. I mean, it is at this point, doesn't have any coolers or freezers, that kind of thing. There's some things that have to be done. And that even is where I say some people have a different take on how they would go about doing that than others. And ultimately, I think the real desire is to ensure that we have someone that's well set up to be in the business, not just for the short term, but the long term. We're going to really try to take that seriously.
Yes, and we've seen some success stories from other communities, and I know that that's one you continue to talk about, but how they've done it, that's certainly helped, I guess, provide some kind of framework for the committee to move forward.
I think it does. It provides some framework on what examples of other towns have done and how their city has provided some support. We have a lot of options right now, I guess. That's good. I don't know what to say that will come of that, because there's, other people on the committee that have different thoughts on what's important. I think ultimately what is really good is that we're still a town of 1,200. We're not in the same position that a town of, say, 500 would be, where it's more of a struggle to put together a business plan of a business that can sustain itself. I think we're in a good position to have a nice grocery store in our town, run professionally. We always have campaigns around here. I mean, all communities do. I mean, you encourage people to shop local, buy local, help your local businesses. Do you think people in Stafford County maybe get this a little bit more? I mean, they've seen it up close and personal, how important it is? Well, that is the key to whether this business will succeed or not, whether people choose to do business there. I think it's on both sides, though. I think the business needs to present a compelling offer. They need to be good at what they do and present something people feel good about buying, whether it's groceries or anything else. It's both. I think, in fact, one of the blogs I enjoy reading, it talks about small town businesses. She had a blog one time that talked about doing away with buy local campaigns. And she said, and I'm all about the idea of shopping local in a small town, but this is the reason I'm kind of against buy local campaigns, because it kind of implies an obligation.
Sure.
And really what we need to do is build up our rural businesses to be the best kind of businesses they can be, and then promote that. And I fully believe that too. Yeah. So that's all the more, we want to talk with the people that are expressing some interest in opening a store here, kind of get a feel for what their business philosophy is. If they're somebody that wants to, run a business that they either can pass on to somebody else that's a business partner in the long term, or, build it up to be the kind of business that someone would be interested in buying. Here was kind of a scenario that somebody kind of warned me about, is that, you don't want to get something in there that's done so simply or so on the cheap that, in some number of years when the current owner is ready to retire, they look to sell it and, they want to sell it for full price. Can't get a buyer at that full price because it really hasn't been built up as a good continuing business. And then nobody buys it and it just shuts down. We've seen lots of examples of that kind of thing in business in general. And we certainly don't want to set that scenario up when we look at doing a grocery store, which is just such an important anchor in a community.
And you look at it, Carolyn, there's really, you got one shot at it. I mean,
you're right. You're right. And all the more, we want to find somebody that has a good commitment for the long term, because, we end up in this scenario 3 years from now because we made a bad choice, and then everybody's going to say, well, it can't work, And then you're in an even worse position the second time around. We don't want that.
Yeah, and I guess you do bring up a very good point that people say, well, you need to shop local. Yeah, but have you been down to that store? So, and gosh, grocery stores are a lot different than they used to be. You talk about delis and things like that, different services that you have. I mean, who knows? You buy stamps there, stuff like that, a service count. I don't know.
Right. You want it to be, just well-maintained and clean. Grocery and a lot of other things too. A lot of the just commitment to high quality in how you run your business.
Yeah, and we've seen that in some of the businesses just in this local area around Great Bend, some grocery stores that provide great services to their community. Sales tax passed on August 2nd. Correct. And in St. John, hats off to people in St. John for doing that. And it was emphasized that this was not a Dillon sales tax, okay? Not a grocery store sales tax, that it could be used for economic development and things like that. But it's
at the same time, this is right now probably our most current economic development need. It's likely that we'll be spending a portion of that sales tax on whatever related to the grocery store, but it's not only for that. It is for economic development and infrastructure. So there's a lot of things that we could do with that, I think, that can help build the future.
And one of the things I know, what is the community up in northern part of the state that lost their grocery store? Onega, right. And when you were on the show last month, you mentioned that you look for someone who's going to come in and make a commitment to the city. And that's kind of what they did, as far as, there was some startup cost money in there, but on the other hand, they gave a commitment to the community of Onega to be there. And if they were not, then that money would come back to the city.
Right. It's a 10-year contract. So if that store closes or changes hands in less than 10 years, the sales tax, well, it boils down to a subsidy that was provided to get that business started, help build the building that it's in.
And even with the sales tax,
it has to be repaid.
Even with the sales tax, St. John's still very competitive because you didn't have one before.
Right. So, we are no higher than anywhere else at all. Still lower, in fact, than Pratt and Great Bend.
So do you compare your feelings right now to where they were maybe 3 months ago?
Oh, I feel good. I feel like there's going to be some options to consider, and that's always a good thing.
Okay.
So I foresee that the grocery committee will make some recommendations to city council, but ultimately it is city council's decision on how they want to spend their money, the money that they collect, or, if they want to contribute something to helping get a building renovated or whatever.
Okay, we've got a lot more things to talk about here on the show today. Carolyn Dunn, Ashley Bevan with us, birthday girl in studio today. Focused on Stafford County, continuing right after this. Welcome back. Focus on Stafford County here today on 1590 KVGB. Carolyn Dunn, Ashley Bevan in with us today. Let's go ahead and, Carolyn, talk about the Rural Opportunity Zone, part of this program, I guess, for 5 years for Stafford County. Kind of give us an update on that.
Well, this is a statewide program that provides an incentive for young adults to return to the rural areas that have historically lost population. So it's a student loan repayment program. And the state of Kansas would pay $1,500 to help repay the student loans of someone that locates to these counties, but it only takes effect if you get the local county that also provides a match of that. So in total, the person can get $3,000 a year, $1,500 from the state, but $1,500 has to come from either the county or your employer. So the counties have to choose, say, we're going to participate in this program. We have for the past 5 years. It was the 5-year period up, and they kind of ask, are you going to keep continuing into the program? And Stafford County said yes. Part of the kicker with that, though, is that there are limited funds available from the county. So there isn't an unlimited number of people we can sponsor through that, but there is an unlimited number if a sponsor is actually that employer. So if the employer says, we have somebody we'd like to hire, we want to offer them this incentive, that employer pays that $1,500. The state will as well, and we have an unlimited number of people that we can accommodate that way.
Have you been able to have you had some takers on this?
Oh, yeah. We have a waiting list, as a matter of fact.
Very big waiting list.
So we have 7 or 8 people that the county is sponsoring. We have a couple of people that their employers are sponsoring, and we're trying to actually work with those that are on the waiting list because it takes so long to work through that over 5 years. It takes so long to work through that waiting list. We're trying to work with some employers to say, hey, can you sponsor them and help them get this benefit? So reduce that waiting list. And then again, for anybody new coming into the county, you can just jump basically to the front of the line and participate in the program if you have an employer that's willing to sponsor.
So the Rural Opportunity Zone seems to be working well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got some good stories. One of the ones that always stands out in my mind is a good example of a success story. These people came into my office when economic development was just getting started. My desk was literally a folding table, and they were just graduating from college. He had a job that required him to locate within a region. He had a choice of 4 or 5 different counties, and he was interested in Stafford County because we were a rural opportunity zone. They've settled down now, have 3 kids. They're just a real great asset to the community, and I thought they're just a really great story of how that Rural Opportunity Zone program provided some, just a little bit of that extra nudge to help us bring people back.
Okay, give me the latest on Business Incubator right now.
Well, I've talked a little bit about it. It's the work behind the scenes. We haven't started construction yet, but the contractors are currently working through those bids. We hope to be able to be at that stage soon where we can sign a contract with a contractor and start building, and hopefully it'll be open by early 2017. It just takes a little time to work through the options of, or even just like if you get a bid back and you went, oh, that's not the budget I wanted. You have to go back and say, well, we'll change this or that or whatever. And we're kind of going through that process right now.
We'll be back. Final segment of Focus on Stafford County coming up right after this. Welcome back. Focus on Stafford County today on 1590 KVGB. Ashley Bevan.
Yes.
Birthday girl today. Tell me the story about Stafford County Video and
Our intern that we had this summer, Brianne Anschutz, created, I think it's about a 3-minute video promoting Stafford County and just kind of reminding our residents that live there of why Stafford County is a great place to live, work, and play. She spent hours going out, getting video of landscape and businesses to compile into this one video to just really promote why we live in Stafford County. So I praise her for putting that together. She has been such a great asset for our office this summer and has completed so many projects. I mean, I really, in the back of my mind, did not think she would complete all of these projects this summer, and she did. She was cranking them out like left and right, and she even had time to teach me a little bit about creating videos in this Adobe Premiere program. So I am just beyond thankful for having her in the office this summer.
We'll be able to use some of these promotional tools throughout the year. So, I think sometimes we think of a promotional tool that says, consider living in Stafford County, something that isn't for an audience that doesn't already live here. And there is that. And I think a lot of people have shared this video online, and a lot of people are seeing it outside of Stafford County. But I think there's also sometimes some real value in people that already live here, kind of getting that reinforcement that, yeah, it's a good place to be.
So this video, they can see it on your website, Facebook, things like that?
Both, yes. StaffordEcoDevo.com. It's right there on the front page. It'll link you to a YouTube video that we uploaded. And then it's also recently on our Facebook page. So, yep.
What's Brianne's last name?
Anschutz.
Where's she from?
Maxville. She graduated in May. And her parents actually moved her to Manhattan last weekend. So she's in her first week of classes this week. So I hope she's doing well. I need to message her and see how her first week has gone.
Probably enjoying it after you just worked your tail off this summer. So, oh, this college is easy, man. Those taskmasters down at... I will say that everybody, all successful people in life begin their academic career at Maxville. Just throwing that out there.
Says the guy who went to Maxville when he was...
Kindergarten.
Okay.
Mrs. Hemphill. Yeah. Spilled a painted pine cone on her dress and she still liked me, so there you go. Okay. Tell me about some jobs that you wanted to highlight today.
Well, economic development certainly promotes the availability of jobs, and we don't necessarily always highlight everything, but there are a couple that are open right now that we thought might be worth highlighting because they kind of not only are literally those jobs, but they're also kind of influential in the context of community development. So right now we have a city superintendent position that is open. They're taking applications for the city superintendent for the town of St. John. And also, we lost our St. John news editor recently, and that's a position that also is just very
Talk about a grocery store. How about a small town newspaper?
They're
how much
everywhere. They're involved, it's
important to a community.
It is, and it is probably one of those positions that kind of requires in a way, a unique skill set because you're not so specialized on just writing. You're
jack of all trades.
You are. So having a person in that position does have an impact on the town. Kind of like the video, you want to be able to hear good things about the place you live. So Pratt Tribune actually owns the paper and they're filling in right now, but having someone that's really vested in the community is good long-term for their business and our community both.
I've got a couple guys in mind, but I don't know if you'd want them living in your town, so I won't mention them today. They know who they are, too.
Have you ever considered a newspaper career? Have you ever considered, the media?
I can't
in writing?
spell, so it doesn't work. In radio, all I have to do is pronounce it the right way. So, no, spelling has always held me back. And it's not Maxville Grade School's fault either, okay? I just didn't pay attention, so. Fair Board with a concert on Friday night.
Yeah, the Fair Board has decided to kind of host a community appreciation night. So Friday night, the Aaron Woods Band will be at the Stafford County Fairgrounds. And at 9 o'clock p.m., people can come to a free admission concert. So I hope we have a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Is this because of your birthday? Is that what's going on? Is this?
No.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No.
So the Fair Board have it in the
Fair Board's
concert going on.
I think, again, decided that they would like to show community appreciation. I don't know. They just felt generous, I guess. So we wanted to promote it and let people know that that's a nice, and again, free event that they can take advantage of on this coming Friday at 9. And then tonight, our last farmers market in St. John. So come from 5 to 7 and you get a nice selection of locally grown produce.
Once again, you guys got a lot of things going on down there, and I will tip my hat to any community that steps forward to raise their own taxes, and that was a sales tax. Kind of, I mean, it kind of makes you a little bit proud. I mean,
right,
because it'd be easy to say, "Well, no, I'm not going to pay that extra money." okay, well, sit around and watch the place fall apart. But
Right.
I feel like you got some momentum going right now.
But you pay that more if you go anywhere else. And
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We do have a pretty conservative political environment statewide right now. So you don't know, but I don't know. I just am encouraged, I guess, by the outcome too.
Keep up the good work, Carolyn. Happy birthday, Ashley.
Thank you.
Golly, 24. Holy cow. We'll be back next month, focused
The
on
voice
Stafford
of
County.
the